So it's been a minute since I gave y'all a little tour of the shop, so I thought we would give an update. There's been a few little new things here and there. I have my main forging area set up here. Oh, and we also have this. I don't think I'll pick her up at the moment. But anyway, Maggie is the new homestead dog, but I think she's decided she's mostly a shop dog. Anyway, I just got done doing a little bit of rearranging. I made some progress on this, closing up this last wall in the shop. That was probably open the last time we showed y'all around. Still got some work to do on that, obviously. My floor is mostly dirt right now, but it will be wood pavement eventually. And there'll be a big stone forge here. So there's lots of things yet to do. The shop is still very, very unfinished. The plank floor is just temporary, a temporary work platform. Gets me to the proper height here at the anvil and gives us a nice walk around. I built some new tool storage this week. New racks for tools and some table space back here for loose things and lots of cans of different things. We have top tools, hammers, and bottom tools. Bottom tools go in the anvil, in the hardy hole. And some of my top tools match. Top and bottom tools match. They're in pairs. So I've got those in here in pairs so that they're quick and easy to find. Drilled some holes in some. These happen to be 1-inch holes in some 2x poplar for punches and things. I have cold working tools and hot working tools. Bolsters for punching holes, mostly cold. Yeah, I'm really happy with the new arrangement. Everything is easier to get to. It's easier to see. There's more space to keep everything organized. I had a couple of little tables here before, and that just got to be too much to keep up with. And this is a much better arrangement. I did move one of those tables over here and put it next to the vise. This is a totally temporary stand. Eventually I'll have a full workbench to put a couple of vices on. And I'll also have, when I get around to building the stone forge, I will have a vise for hot work on the forge, on a corner of it, sort of out of the way, but quickly accessible. And then I'll just have vices at the bench for cold work. Right now this vise serves both, so it's mounted over here under the window, where I have nice light for file work. And moving this little table here just about doubled my bench space. I also braced the stand and got it screwed to the wall, so that's nice. I also moved my file rack. It was this wall and window are a new addition. So once I got the wall in, then I was able to move my my file rack over here close to the vise, and that is really nice. It would be even nicer if I had my permanent floor in. This vise is really tall, and it's mounted on a stand where the foot is just a little bit above the ground. So I have to have this stone here to bring the vise up to elbow height, which is about right for most work. Elbow height. They say knuckle height for your anvil face and elbow height for your vise, at least if you do much file work. Hi, Maggie. And in here, the wood shop, I think in our last tour video, the wood shop was just a messy hole. And it's still a messy hole, but it's a little bit more of a workspace. Got it cleaned up and organized a bit. This is a really big thing. I finally have a good workbench. So I've got the workbench in here, and I've started to build some tool storage. I've got the workbench braced to the wall and leveled out, and I'm using it. I still have to make myself an iron-toothed planing stop. I do have the mortise and the block but I still need to make the planing stop and get it installed. I need to put some more shelving, both sides, more storage for planes, and I have a whole bunch more tools coming, so a bunch more woodworking tools. So yeah, the rest of this room is just random storage for now. I've got a storage shed that's underway outside, and once I get that thing finished, then almost everything in here will move out there. I'm going to turn this bench thingy here. I'm going to do some work to it and turn it into my reloading bench. But yeah, again, dirt floor, and it'll be the same. It'll be the same as the other room. Eventually, it'll be wood pavement. So yeah, let's go back in here to the forge and talk about a couple of just features of what I like in a workspace. Oh, and I should explain. Everybody asks why I have 2 anvils. The 2 anvil setup is pretty ridiculous. But the reason I have it that way for now, I don't like it, but the reason it's that way for now is this anvil, which was my first anvil. It's still my main anvil that I do most of my work on. And it's a decent little anvil. It's 125 pounds. If an anvil is properly strapped down, which this one is strapped down really, really tight, and this post goes 3 feet into the ground, so it's not moving anywhere. This anvil rang like a bell until I got it strapped down. Now it's pretty quiet. But anyway, this anvil's fairly hard. The top is decently hard, and it has a sort of decent horn. But the edges of the top are really worn. And yes, there's a lot of work you can do with that, and obviously I'm still doing a lot of work. But there are times when I want nicer edges. And also, this anvil's not dead flat. It's got a little bit of a saddle here in the middle. This anvil here, this anvil has been, before I got it, it was given to me. Before I got it, someone had welded up the face and milled it off flat. So this anvil's dead flat. It has nicely shaped edges, but it's pretty soft. And the horn still needs to be rebuilt, so the horn's in really rough shape. So this is the anvil I use most of the time. I use this one very occasionally when I need a nice flat surface, and even less frequently, sometimes I will use the edges on this anvil. But most of the time it just functions as a tool table or just a tool stand. And I do think it's a great idea to have a movable, like 1 foot square stool or something that is the same height as your anvil, that you can just set wherever you want it for your forging session, so that you can lay a ruler or a top tool that you're using or your brush or anything like that on that stool while you're working. But anyway, but most of the time all those tools stay over here. It's just going to be nice to have a little stand to put a couple things on. My forge is set up so that the center of the fire is about 6 feet from the center of the anvil. And that's a little far. I think that's really, if you want the most versatility you can get out of your forging setup, I think that's a good rule of thumb. And it's not too far at all once you get used to it. But it wouldn't, most of the time, it wouldn't hurt to have it a little closer. I don't care a ton for my forge. It's obviously, it's like the anvil. It's served me well. Made a lot of money with it, done a lot of work, continuing to do so. But I would like it to be much bigger. So when I build my new forge, the table area will be much bigger. Of course, it will also be a double, so it'll actually be 2 fires. The new forge, this one is about 2 feet square. No, it's a little over. It's about 2 feet 4 inches square. The table is, without the bricks. The new forge will be 3 feet by 6 feet across. And then the water tank on the new forge will go full length, so it'll be 6 feet across as well. I need to fill the tank up. It's getting kind of low. Anyway, quick fabricated forge. It's really done well. But one of these days, I'm going to get around to putting together some plans for what I feel like is really a good starter forge for folks. I also have this rack over here. I need to move this one. We're getting back over here to the vise. I need to move this one and reorganize it. Before this wall was here, I talked about moving my file rack. Before the wall was here, this wall was open for a real long time. After most of the last 3 years that I've been working in this shop, unfinished shop. So I had the file rack on this wall, and I moved it, but I haven't moved this rack yet, and I need to move this rack. But this rack is built up of laminated boards with grooves ripped in the boards on the table saw. So they're square, that create square holes of different sizes, and I think most of them are either 1 inch or 1/2 inch holes. And this is to hold little files, punches, all kinds of stuff. And I'm not using it a ton right now, but that is really, really handy. And I need to get it moved over here and get it reorganized. I'll probably just put it right here above the main vise. But I can't wait till the day that I have a real workbench, which is going to go over there. And someday, where the vise is now is where I'm going to build a lathe. So I'll have a lathe there eventually. This shelf is new as well. 12-foot shelf. It's about 8.5 inches wide. And man, it is amazing. It's built really stout. That's why I've got so much metal on it. But it is amazing just how much of a difference a few square feet of horizontal storage can add. And I need to think about where else I can put shelves. So anyway, that's the basic setup. If you are there's a lot that you can get used to, but my preference, and I know people that have the opposite preference, but my preference is, as far as my main forging area, is if you're facing the anvil, I like to have the forge to my weak side, or my tong side, as I like to say it, which would be, in my case, I'm right-handed, so my right hand is my hammer hand, my left hand is for the tongs, and so I like to have the forge 90 degrees to the anvil to my left. But some people like it the opposite. I'm weird in that most people put the horn of their anvil to their weak side, and I think it's pretty traditional in the last 150 years. I think before that, or well, even as far back as 150 years ago, I think there were still a few people that would put it the other way. But anvils, historically, blacksmithing's been broken into many, many different trades. Blacksmithing wasn't one big monolithic trade, so there were many different kinds of smiths. Different people would set up their tools differently for different kinds of work. And that's the case for me. I find for most of the work I do, I'm not a farrier. I don't make any horseshoes. And so I actually find that it's nicer to have the horn to the right. And there's several reasons for that, but one of the main reasons is that it makes it easier to work around hardy tooling. So I can have a tool in the hardy hole, specifically even something as wicked looking as the hot cut, but I can still hammer and work on the main part of the anvil without getting my fingers or hands anywhere close to the tooling. So it's a lot easier to work around hardy tooling with the hardy turned to your tong side. Let's see, what else? Over the last 3 years of having this shop, I've definitely been learning a lot about what tools need to be where, and what tools need to have priority as far as like tools that need to be stored closer to my main area, to my anvil, and tools that don't need to be as close. So I'm still figuring that out to some degree. I'm sure I will be moving I'll be moving some of the tools that are on this table over here back over further away to different storage areas, because I'm going to really try to work hard to keep this as efficient as it can be and not clutter it with tools that don't really get used. So I've got my measuring and marking tools easy to grab at all times, and my brush close at hand. This is actually, this chunk of wood here serves multiple purposes. So it acts as that little tool stool that I talked about earlier, so I can roll this over and put it close to the anvil but not in the way, and lay a couple of tools on it. But it's also obviously it serves as a wood block for shaping things. Got kind of a depression in there for making spoons or bowls or whatever, and also as something to shape metal on where you don't want to mar the metal. So if I have a twist that I want to straighten out, or I have a shape like this, I use the stump for this a lot. When I was putting the curve into this door bolt, after I had made this element, I needed to hit on the thing without marring that ridge. So I used the wood in conjunction with a wooden mallet. I need a new mallet to shape it without marring it. And again, like I said, a twist. If you needed to straighten a twist out, wood on wood can be really, really handy for that sort of thing. Let's see, what else could we show off? Some of my current projects. I'm working on a door, some door hardware. So this is one of the two strap hinges. I've got the other one here. It's just not quite finished. One of the two strap hinges for a door I'm working on. That's going to be cool. We'll have that whole door build up as a video here in a month or two. But that's one of those strap hinges. That's really, really cool. The strap hinge is, let's see. I don't actually know the full length off the top of my head. So it's 24. It's about 28, 29 inches long. That started as 18 inches of 1/4 by 2. For reference, this is about 1/4 by 1.5 now. That was a really, really fun forging. And then I've also got this. This is going on the same door. This is going to be a ring latch or knocker latch, where you grab it, twist it to operate the latch, and there'll be one of these on each side of the door, so inside and outside. So I have one more of those to make. That was fun. And yeah. Oh, this is kind of cool. So this started as this. So this is the main bar that's 1/2 inch square, 8 inches long, and then that gets drawn out, tapered and drawn out until it's about 12 inches long. And this collar gets forge welded on and drawn out and shaped into that decorative element in the middle. Let's see, what else can we show off? Oh, so down here, along this wall, again, a lot of this stuff is temporary, so I'm not showing this to you as like, this is how to do it. Even those things that may not work for everybody, but most of my setup is temporary. But along this wall, I have a place to lean up different sizes of stock, and I have my sledgehammer collection, which is way bigger than necessary. Don't need that many sledges, but I have my sledgehammer collection here, where it's easy for anybody helping me to grab a sledge. This is the sledge that I use most of the time. It's a 10-pound sledge with a very short handle. I think this handle's about 20 inches maybe. This is the hammer. I've got a couple of them this size, but this is the hammer I use most of the time. I'm sure somebody will want to know about the hammer. This is just a 1 kilo or 2 1/4 pound German style cross peen. This one was made by Pettinghaus. Pettinghaus makes hammers both in Germany and France. It's a nice hammer, but I'm kind of feeling like it's a little light sometimes, so I'm going to be playing with hammers in the 2.5 to 2 3/4 pound range in the future. More stock over here. This used to be a door. I decided that I'm not going to have a door here anymore. Well, the permanent forge, when it's built, will come all the way to the wall. So anyway, I've got to close that in with more siding eventually. And then yeah, so future plans, immediate future. I'm planning to build a second temporary forge. So I'm planning to build a forge with basically a wooden base that will sort of mimic the permanent stone forge. And so it'll be a double. And over in that corner of the shop, I'm going to be building in a second permanent work area. So there'll be a second anvil stump, another vise somewhere, and I want to get the shop. One of my main goals for the rest of this year, we'll see if it happens, is to, it's to have full-time help, full-time forging help. But in order to get there, I have to get my setup. I have to get a setup in place for a second forging station. So second fire, second forging station. Yeah, that is about the sum of it right now. I still need to get doors built for the shop. Still haven't made any progress on that. But I need to get the hardware made for the doors finished, and then I can build the doors. But as we're going into warmer weather, that'll probably be one of the last things I focus on this year. But thanks for looking around the shop with me, and we'll do another update when there's new things to be seen.